But Vasily, we cannot hear you. No sound from you.
Она не так слышит.
Кто-то слышит Василия? Я нет.
Нет,
Я тоже нет, не слышно.
А он нас слышит, по-моему.
Yes. He looks very unhappy.
Пытается прорваться, так слышно.
Eddie, can you check if Vasily is not muted?
He is not muted. It has been muting and unmuting. I think he's been trying to get it to work.
Uh-huh. It's his first time when he joins us from home.
Yes. There's sometimes more difficulties.
I think, well,
I was going to pull up the commentary.
uh-huh. I think Elena and Svetlana, they posted very interesting questions to Abby about marriage and family.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
I enjoyed the questions. See here, it should be sharing. Oh dear, that's not very legible, is it?
One question was about
Go.
marriage contract.
It's really
Abby, yeah.
it's very unusual for our country.
Abby, I think.
I didn't see the questions. I must have missed them.
You missed the questions.
Where?
I think they are in the
text.
maybe
Russian
in
teacher or Russian
to teacher.
Oh, I missed them. No wonder. I thought, where are the questions? I'm looking now. I didn't think to look in the. I need to make sure that I get updates to that. Clearly, I'm not getting updates. Okay. Oh, those are very interesting questions. Okay, let me. So I'll pull both of those up in just a text document. Oh, now you'll know my real answers, because I'll have to answer them without considering my answer very very long. Oh, let's see.
Yeah. I think now it's been. I'm trying to upload the page like Abby, you did with family.
Oh, I printed
Page.
it. Oh, I've been looking for
It's
that.
also possible to share web
How do you
content.
share web content? I suppose.
Content.
Oh, I see web content. Aha! Well, that's what I would have done, but I can't do it when I'm not presenter. But I can pull up a PDF when I'm not presenter.
Can you guys, Sveta, Elena, can you see the your questions on the whiteboard.
Да.
Вы видите, да?
Yes.
Oh, those are very good questions. Some of them I might have to find different answers. Some of the answers vary. So the first question, Sveta, would you like to ask the questions, and then I'll answer them.
It's very interesting. It's very unusual for Russia, and I try
Understand.
understand that the people.
Uh-huh. You mean a marriage contract?
Yes.
I also think that it's very strange. But I think it depends a little bit on, to a certain degree, it depends on the wealth of the family. It depends on the wealth of the two individuals.
Wealth, богатство.
So, for example, my husband Kyle and I did not sign a contract. And part of that is related to our beliefs about marriage. So you have two very large trends. You have a very conservative view of marriage, and you have a more liberal view. And we tend to be very conservative, and so we decided not to have a contract, or we didn't even discuss it. But many people find that a contract is good and necessary, and I think that this comes from considering marriage to be a little bit more, I guess, of a legal, or it's to protect themselves. It's to protect in case the marriage doesn't work out. So if they get a divorce and they have a contract, it will protect the financial, or because people can be very nasty if they get divorces. People can be nasty. Very nasty or mean, unkind. And because in America it's quite common to, or it's not unusual to be sued for various things. In divorce, individuals may sue each other, so the contract helps protect them. Because Kyle and I do not intend to ever get a divorce, we didn't want to even consider the possibility of, you know, of divorcing, and so we didn't want to have a contract. But I agree with Sveta. It's very strange, but many people, especially wealthy people, find it necessary. Otherwise, they might lose something that's valuable to them if the marriage does not work. What do you think about marriage contracts, Yelena? Or Vasily, you can type, maybe.
I haven't.
You didn't have a marriage contract? Do you think that they are... what do you think of them?
It is for rich.
Yes, yes, for the rich. I agree. Because poor people have very little to lose. I suppose poor people might, in America, might make a marriage contract, might write up and sign a marriage contract if they thought that very soon they would become rich. But otherwise, I can't imagine them making a marriage contract. Indiana, what question would you like to ask me first, or question? I'm sorry if I cut you off.
Сейчас, секундочку. Василий, посмотрите, вот, может быть, еще такое, где есть слово participants, справа есть такое колесико с зубчиками. Set Video Options. Может быть, там что-то посмотреть. Там, правда, по видео, да, настройки. Попробуйте там посмотреть. Может быть, как-то с камерой это связано. Откуда берется звук у вас, с какой камеры. Еще где...
Микрофон, не красненький, говорит, послушай. Я когда вхожу на микрофон красный, камера не работает. Все, настроил, вообще пропал.
Аудио, speaker, microphone, тест. Там что-то пошевелить. Вот, больше я вот... Еще можно посмотреть, Василий, чтобы никакая другая программа, Skype там или еще кто-то, не забирал звук у вас. Если какая-то другая программа использует звук на компьютере, то тогда у WebEx ничего не получится. Смотрите. Это у кого было сейчас звук? Может, Василия? Нет? Какая-то мелодия.
Прошло.
Тестирование, да, прошло. Так. Okay. So Abby asked someone to ask a question, right?
Yes, I did.
And well, I think another question from Svetlana was also interesting about kind of maternity leave. I think so, right?
It's what we call maternity.
Maternity leave.
Yeah, maternity leave. That's the one that I would have to, I would have to think about and ask. My first instinct is that it's something like maternity leave, like somewhere between 3 to 6 weeks. But
yes. Yes, Svetlana. It's not 2 or 3 years like in Russia.
And it depends on where she works. Let's see. And there are laws. I was wrong. So let's see. Is this in the U.S.? Yes, this is in the U.S. So I think that there are laws that allow or that require them 12 to allow 12 weeks. However, there are some exceptions. Okay, so there should be 12 weeks of unpaid. It's unpaid.
Unpaid.
Yeah.
Unpaid.
Oh yes. No, they aren't. They aren't paid. I mean, it would again depend on where you work. If you worked at a very large, I don't know. I will ask my mother because she works at a hospital, and it's a university hospital, so it's a very large, organization because it's a university, and they have very good benefits. And maternity leave would be considered a benefit of working at, so the conditions of maternity leave. Hello, Sergey.
Hello.
Hi.
We're talking about Svetlana's questions, and her second question, how long is American women's maternity leave when they have a child? So 12 weeks, but there are exceptions, like I was saying. So if the company is very small, maybe if it's less than 50 employees, they don't have to give 12 weeks. It depends on how much money the woman makes, so the woman's salary, what? How long she has been employed. So if it's less than 12 months, that might make an exception. So when a woman needs to request maternity leave, it's very important for her to talk to HR. And HR is human resources. So human resources, that is a very important part of any company in the U.S. And they are the people that you talk to about things like maternity leave, health insurance, and other things that you receive as a benefit.
Кто-то дышит очень сильно в микрофон.
Быть я.
Наверное, Сергей, да, старайтесь.
Ну, это сейчас я его подальше отодвину от дыхательных.
Василий написал, что это не он. Как бы он ни дышал, он ничего не может сделать уже. What about Russia, Svetlana?
I'm curious to hear what it is in Russia.
Maternity leave, how long?
We have 1.5 years vacancy.
I'm sorry, say that a little louder.
Louder, громче, louder, please.
Say that a little louder, please.
We have 1.5 years vacancy about to born a child.
Yes.
And that time we have not more, any money.
Yes, it's unpaid also.
And we save your place at the result at that time. Кроме того,
Besides.
besides, we can have 3 years vacancy, not paid money, and also we can self-pay our doctors.
Okay, so you still have a job even after 3 years of unpaid leave, yes? You still have the same job, or you can, after the year, 1.5 to 3 years of
In the period
unpaid.
of 3 years, we save. Yes.
Yes. Yes, so you still have the same job, or you can still have the same job.
What about me? I have 2 children.
Yes.
And I go to work at my daughter was 2 years old.
Yes. Yes.
It's very good.
Yes, it is very good. 12 weeks is nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. This is what...
grow without money.
Yes.
It's very bad.
Yes, I agree.
But Svetlana, in Russia, the first year and a half of maternity leave, is it paid or unpaid?
Paid.
It's paid.
Oh.
Not more money. Very small money.
Very small money, right,
Yes,
Svetlana?
but in America, 12 weeks, no money.
No,
I mean, it's unpaid.
that money is not a gift to pay food.
Yes.
Вообще непонятно ничего делать, короче.
English, in English.
I don't
We don't.
understand what I can do with that money.
Very
Because
good.
it's so
Very
small.
small money.
Yeah, it's a very small amount of money.
And now,
But
Sveta,
I think much big plus that situation is safe place.
Yes. Yeah.
and Svetlana, so when you were on your maternity leave for the first and a year and a half, where did you get the money? Your husband
My
helped you?
husband was working.
Okay, your husband was working.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm just curious. If well, for example, my cousin, she lives in California, and she works for Monterey Institute,
Oh.
something like this. Yeah, and when she gave birth to her son, she was on maternity leave maybe for a few weeks, maybe 4 weeks.
Yes.
And then she went back to work because she needed money,
Yes.
and I think her salary, well, I don't know, at least maybe $3,000 or $4,000 a month.
Yes.
So Svetlana, if you knew that your salary is about $4,000 a month, would you go back to work, or would you stay with your children?
I think I not that before my child was my child was 1 year. Because
Your
growing a child, it's not remember time.
I didn't understand the last sentence.
Я же не знаю, как это сказать. Growing of child, it's not remember time. It's once life.
Ah.
Not money don't give me that emotion.
Okay, I see.
That's very interesting because recently I was reading. Where was I reading this? I don't remember. Go ahead.
Besides, in Russia, in the vacancy, maybe father and maybe grandma.
I recently read that a very well-respected professor at a university here in the United States had done a lot of studies of children his whole life, his whole career, and stated that the first year or so of a child's life is one of the most important for the child to bond with his or her mother. The first year is very important. Not from the perspective of the job, or maybe even from the perspective of the parent, but from the perspective, I'm sure that it's also important for the parent, but for a child to spend as much time as possible.
It's a question of priority. It's
yes, the bond with its mother. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This is a big question for Kyle and me because I currently work at home, and soon we would probably like to begin a family. And being a police officer is not very well paid. So it is hard for us financially. But if I get a job outside of the home, and we have children, I think it will be we will become reliant on my income in addition to his, and I think it will be very hard for us to change our lifestyle if I want to stay at home with my children, because the American system does not give very much maternity leave. The American system.
Okay, so and Yelena asked questions of your daughter, I think. Right? And how old is your daughter?
24.
Oh, 24.
So she's basically my age.
So she can join our course, I think. Does she speak English, Елена?
Very well.
Yes.
Oh.
She has probably studied English a long time.
She speaks English in school, but in university also.
Yeah.
And after university, she speaking in internet.
Yes. Yes.
Елена, and what does she do?
She is doctor,
Oh.
intern doctor.
What kind of doctor?
She graduated medical university.
Yes. Oh, an intern. Yes. Ah. What kind of doctor?
Family
I see.
doctor.
Yes. Does she like working with children? Or it doesn't matter?
Probably.
Probably. I hope so. For the families. So,
But children love her.
oh, do they?
Well,
How do you know, Sergey?
I'm and my family very часто
Often?
be in Елена in гостях. Often.
Oh, you often.
Oh, да. And my children love his daughter.
Oh. Well, that's a good sign. A good sign.
Вот это в гостях, да, нет такого слова, да, нет в английском, так не говорят, да, вот visit или come to see,
Yes.
да, это интересно, да, вот такое русское выражение в гостях у сказки, да.
Мне везет с выражениями.
Да, по-английски очень, мне кажется, по-английски очень сухо это come to visit, да, это very dry, да.
Смысл совсем другой.
Да. Different attitude to hospitality, to visiting people.
Very different attitude to hospitality.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you ever come to St. Louis, all of you must come to visit.
Yeah.
If you ever come to the U.S. and St. Louis, you all must come to visit.
Come to visit, да? Come to visit, то есть приходите в гости, да? Come to visit.
Окей. Как только так сразу.
Super. I'll tell Kyle to get the guest room ready. Oh. But seriously, it's true. You should. So your daughter, Gildiana, had some questions. Which ones do you think I should answer first? Which question or questions? What question do you think she is most curious about?
Еще раз, what question?
Yes, what question would you like me to answer first?
Which one первый?
The first one, okay. I do like...
Number 4.
Oh, number 4?
Yeah, number 4 is more about family, maybe.
It is,
Yeah.
it is more about family. Yes, there is a tradition.
Family. How much time family members carry to work?
Oh. Well, usually it is over 40 hours a week. 40 is standard. You may work from 8 until 4, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., but very frequently the hours are longer. Usually there is overtime. So Americans, like Russians, tend to work very long hours. Maybe not as long as Russians, but it depends on the job.
And I think that Americans usually get paid based on an hour, right?
Yeah.
Hourly. Yeah.
It depends. It depends.
But
Recently,
more often maybe than in Russia.
I think it may be more often. So there are salaried positions, and there are hourly salaries. So if you have a salaried position, it means you get paid a certain amount, and it doesn't matter how many hours you work. You may work very many hours, but you still will receive the same amount of money. I spoke with a woman last week whose husband has a salaried position, and she was complaining and saying, he works so long and stays so late, but he does not make any overtime or extra money. No overtime. He has to work overtime, but no extra money, versus an hourly pay, which my husband Kyle has a job with the police, and that is an hourly rate. So he gets paid for the time he's at work, but yesterday he had to go to court, and so he made 2 hours of overtime, and that is 1.5 times his hourly rate. So he is paid extra money for overtime. Does that make sense? So if he makes, we'll say, $2 an hour, when he works overtime, it's $3 an hour. Which it's much more than that, but that's an example.
And Sergey, you have a salaried work? Salaried?
Position?
Что значит?
Salaried position. Salary, то есть это на как бы оклад, да, то есть не почасовая оплата, а salaried position.
Yes, I'm on salaried. Work in salaried position in Russia. Overtime paid in 2 раза больше.
More.
More. Как правильно сказать полностью? Вот 2 раза больше.
Twice as much?
Much.
Twice as much. Must. But very often it's not paid, and
At all.
I understand. And so then it is like a salaried position because there's no extra money for overtime.
What about your work in Eletz Hydroaggregat? If you stay overtime, do you get paid more?
In my I work at ненормированный.
Ух, ненормированный. Давайте спросим у Эбби. Объясните Эбби. Ненормированный. Я не знаю.
Ненормированный. Ну, то есть в любое время я могу.
Чуть-чуть, Сергей. In English, please. In English.
So,
Play in English. Yeah.
I may work on day, night, all time if it's needed.
Oh, I see. Oh, my heavens. I don't even know what we call a position like that. There must be a word. I understand the meaning. You're on call. You're on call. On call. On call. You.
On call.
Звонки.
So, yeah, like...
You can say I work on call, so I'm not sure. But you can say I'm always on call.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm always on call, да, то есть мне всегда можно позвонить, да.
Whenever they need you.
Is it okay to say you are on call, Sergey? You're always on call.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes. It's normally time. It's from 8 to 17 hours.
Yeah.
But if needed, we call and I
Что делать?
позвать сотрудников, ну, то есть организовать работу.
You can organize.
I must organize work to
Resolve?
resolve problem.
Yeah.
Good.
Resolve the problem.
Very
Oh,
good.
that's hard. It's very difficult.
Раз. Василий.
Oh, yes!
Или we can hear you. Мы слышим вас. Наконец-то.
Yes,
Да.
of course, at last. Oh, at last.
Я в вашу компанию.
Теперь
я попал в вашу компанию.
Да. And today you all finished work earlier, right?
They're all at home.
You're all at home.
You know.
Елена is at work.
I think.
Yes.
Как сказать, Эбби? Отдувается. Like, she is like... Отдувается за всех.
Slaving away.
She's
She's slaving away? Is that kind of the right sense?
slaving away. Да, типа отдувает рабство.
Первый интернет.
Oh, yes. I understand.
Technical problem.
It's hard without internet at home. So maybe I'll answer the fourth question that Yelena posted, because it also is kind of about family. There is a tradition to choose a wedding song for the newlyweds, and we did have a special song at our wedding. It was called The Luckiest by Ben Folds. It's kind of funny because we were very busy before the wedding, and I had not picked the song yet, And I asked Kyle what song I should choose, and he didn't know. And so I picked one that we liked. And then last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, I asked Kyle, we were talking, and he said, well, you remember the song we chose, right? And I looked at him and I said, what song did we choose? I don't remember. And he was like, oh, you forgot. I forgot too. I was worried that I was the only one who forgot. Kyle thought that he forgot, but I remembered. But it was, people try to pick a song that is very meaningful to them, usually. A song. Couples try, or usually pick a song which is very meaningful to them.
And in Russia, do people? Well, I think my wife and I, we chose a song, and it was a French song by Serge Gainsbourg.
Oh.
But I don't know. I honestly don't know if it's common in Russia to choose the wedding song, or it's unusual. What do you think?
It's unusual, I think.
Ah, it's unusual. And so what happens? What happens at a usual wedding? Like a standard song, like is played, or like the marriage office, they choose the song for the newlyweds, right? Is it common?
Is there a song played?
We danced with my wife, like just after we got the rings.
Uh-huh.
I think, and then this lady with a very like a dry voice, like вы теперь муж и жена, like yeah, and then they started they started to play the song that we asked them to play, and we had this dance. Like, yeah, but I haven't been to many Russian weddings, so I don't know what's the usual practice. Yeah. Elena, and your daughter, is she married?
No.
Not yet.
It's very bad.
Very good. Maybe very good. I don't know.
Oh. Why do you think it's very bad, Sergey?
I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
And Abby, we were going to discuss Василий's post, right?
Yes, we were.
Вам видно, вот я сейчас показываю документ, да, ну, как страничку, где Василий написал, да? Видно всем? Нет? А, наверное, это кто показывает? Подожди, я показываю, да?
Да.
Да.
Готов and host.
Можно сделать побольше шрифт, да, там внизу, это плюсик, минус.
I see great.
Okay.
Ага.
So
Это мы Эбби, слышно?
everyone
Ага.
can see? Everyone
Yeah.
can see, yes? Elena and Sveta and Vasily? Can you see the post? Hello?
Со звуком стало прерываться.
Is that better? Yes?
Мгм.
Hear me?
Мгм.
You can hear me? Okay. Vasily, we were wondering, are these similarities or differences between Russia and America? Which are which?
Similarities, схожести, да, and differences, различия. Similarities, differences. Мгм. So are you talking, Vasily, about similarities or differences? Yeah.
Ну, similarity with one and two Christian faith
Uh-huh.
and technological civilization.
So the total, да, Василий, это вы хотели сказать общее, что мы имеем, да, ну, total это как бы тотальное, да, всеобъемлющее, а общее это вот similarity, similar. The similarity, what makes Russia and the US similar is, yeah, similarity. Okay, good. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Christian faith and technological civilization. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then the differences?
And different and different more.
Yes, there are more differences than similarities.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
5 differences.
Yes,
Yeah.
5 differences.
And in my example,
Huh?
Example.
Example, yes.
Example.
Yes?
If one we don't like the transfer of elderly parents in nursing homes.
Yes, nursing homes.
Understand?
Yes, that one I did understand. Yes. Yes.
Как бы я сомневался вот nursing homes.
Nursing home. Nursing home. That's,
It's
yes.
okay. It's
Good,
okay.
it's good. That was perfect. Uh-huh.
And two example, condiment, then your close friends, and even to render service for the money.
That one, I wasn't quite sure. So in Russia, you're condemned, or in America?
I condemn of America. Yeah.
I'm sorry, repeat that, please.
I condemn in America.
Oh, yes, okay. And I'm not, condemned might not be quite the right word. Condemned. Usually that is for court or religion. So usually it's a legal or religious meaning. Maybe you meant, I wasn't quite sure.
Oh,
'Huh?
Maybe, Vasily, you can try to say it differently. Like, what do you mean? Say in other words, in English, but in other words. This statement, condemned when you are close friends and even to render. What do you want to say? Like, попробуйте простыми словами, прямо потихоньку. Ага. In English.
People condemn. Our people condemn.
You mean Americans think badly of Russians?
Осуждать.
Осуждать. Yes, condemn. Condemn, осуждать. Condemn, yeah. So Russian people condemn.
Or Americans?
Поведение. Russian people condemn
Behavior.
Actions,
behavior. Yes. What kind of behavior?
It is part our culture.
Yes, being close friends, having close friends is part of Russian culture.
My son шумит.
He was making noise. My son was making noise. So having close friends is part of Russian culture?
Давайте попробуем, сейчас пока Василий думает, Светлана, попробуйте по-английски написать в чате то, что вы думаете, что сказал Василий в блоге. Этими словами по-английски. Нет, попробуйте. А мы пока продолжим объяснять. Василий. So, yeah, Abby asked, so having close friends is part of Russian culture, right? Yes.
Okay.
And?
I don't understand where condemned comes in.
Condemn, I think.
Who is condemning? Who?
Who condemns who? Yeah.
Having. Yes. We like having close friends.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
I have more friends.
Many friends.
Many, да? Many friends.
So are Russians or are Americans condemning? I don't understand the subject of the sentence. I need a subject.
Subject, подлежащее. Кто субъект, кто кого. Что делает. По-английски нужен субъект обязательно в предложении. Иначе, видите, непонятно просто. Скажите, кто кого определяет и осуждает.
Russian.
Okay,
So Russians condemn? Okay. Russians condemn who? Whom? So who do Russians condemn? Whom do Russians condemn?
О, теперь кого осуждают русские? Who?
Russians, all the Russians.
Okay, Russians condemn each other when they're close friends. Oh, now I'm understanding the sentence. So is this a difference with America? Yes.
How do you understand it, Abby? I still don't.
So
I don't
I
understand.
think this is a difference between America. I think that Russians condemn each other. And
Why?
they're
In
close
what
friends.
in what situations do Russians condemn each other?
I don't know.
Let's ask
Maybe.
Vasily.
Yeah, Vasily. When do they condemn each other?
Светлана написала, the Russians
That's a very
have
negative
friends
sentence.
as the native.
Yes.
Yeah, как родных она имеет в виду. But yeah, okay, so what's the point? Like, okay, Russians have friends as the native, well, as their family, right? They treat friends as family.
Yes, that would be the way to say it.
Yeah, but in what situations do Russians condemn each other? Like, okay, Russians have close friends. And why would Russians condemn each other? In what situation? When to rent the services for the money, like when you have a friend, you don't take money from a friend, right, for a service. Your friend makes a service, and you don't take money from your friend.
Yes.
You understand, Eddie, now?
Yes, I think I do. So they don't, you almost want to say condone, or they don't, you shouldn't. Russians don't ask for money. Russians won't accept money from close friends. Russians won't accept money for help or from friends. So they won't accept.
Okay.
I understand now.
And those Russians who accept money, they will be condemned.
Ah.
I don't understand. Russians not give or not take money.
So it is considered very bad. Russians think very badly of other Russians who take money from their friends. Russians think badly
Badly.
other Russians who accept money from their friends. So they have a poor opinion, where Russians have a poor opinion. Or you could even say Russians condemn, except it's a very strong sense.
Да, condemn это очень сильное слово, ну, знаете, прям проклинаю. Condemn.
Accept money for help from their friends. Russians condemn those who accept money for help from their close friends. Yeah.
Понятно сейчас это выражение, да, то, что мы...
Как я поняла, то есть русские осуждают тех, кто берет у друзей деньги за помощь.
Совершенно верно.
У близких друзей берет. Не у других, а у друзей.
Yes.
Нет, там было семьи and
И близких друзей.
So from their family and close.
Ну да, да.
You could say from their family and close friends. Ah, this goes back to the giving money to children thing.
Да, it's the question about, whether to give money to the kids who work in the garden.
Now I understand some of the other sentences too. Russians condemn those who complain to the police or the prosecutor's office.
Видите, Василий хотел сказать, осуждается, да, когда. Вот в русском вот эти безличные предложения, да, очень часто используются. Осуждается, ожидается, предполагается, думается и так далее, да. В английском нужно сказать, кто и что делает обязательно, да. Вот поэтому Эбби потерялась, она не увидела вот этого подлежащего, да. В принципе, мне тоже вот, я все остальные понял, но мне тоже было трудно понять вот про condemned when you are close friends, да. Ну, я догадался по общему смыслу, потому что идет такие параллельные конструкции, я понял, как бы, да. Вот. Ну, а так здесь, да, нужно сказать, значит, кто кого, да, допустим, Russians condemn кого-то еще, да, condemn other Russians. When you are close friends, ну, и потом уже начинает более-менее вырисовываться смысл. Но обязательно нужно подлежащее, да, вот это.
Да. Otherwise, is it Americans who condemn? Is it Russians who condemn? Who is condemning? And who is being condemned? Кого тоже непонятно.
Да.
With those who, that could be Russians or Americans or anyone.
Тех кого, да?
Whoever does this is condemned.
So Russians condemn those who help the police, да, получается? Those who help the police or the prosecutor's office.
It might be an American helping the police. It might be a Russian. It might be someone from France, a Frenchman.
Да, то есть, да, вот здесь тоже, теперь уже поняли, да, что Василий имеет в виду, что, наверное, Russians, да? Вот второе предложение, condemned when you complain to the police, да? Russians condemn. То есть русские, yeah. Russians condemn when you come. So in America, it's common to complain to the police, right? About a neighbor.
Oh yeah. And sometimes it goes worse for those who complain than for those they're complaining about. Sometimes things go worse for those who are complaining than for the neighbor. Sometimes it's bad.
Хуже тому, кто жалуется, да?
Yes. Those who complain got the worst end of things. I have so many stories. Since my husband is a police officer. Yes?
Russians condemn people who assist the police. Continue to help children, right? After graduating from university. Yeah, that's interesting. Very often children are so connected with their parents until the age of 30 maybe.
It's less common in the U.S.
It was?
It's less common in the U.S.
Less common.
Okay, we didn't ask you if you had any questions.
Question.
About the family relations in the U.S.
So, maybe how many time you будешь with spend with your parents?
As much as I can, and it's not a lot. Now that I live in St. Louis, I try to go home maybe 2 or 3 days every 2 to 3 weeks. So, as much as I can. So, probably now about, on average, 5 days plus a month. So five or more days a month. But before I moved to St. Louis, when I lived in Texas, I saw them maybe 2 times a year because it was very far away. That's
Thank
not
you.
a lot of time. How often do parents see their children in Russia, Sergey?
I not understand your question.
Yes, I'll repeat it, of course. How often do children see their parents in Eletz?
Different. I am live with my parents. Many my friends бывает.
It happened. Бывает.
Тоже надо come to visit, maybe.
Come to visit your parents. Достаточно редко, это как
Very seldom.
very seldom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's different. It's very different.
Yes. It depends on where they live also. Sometimes. It depends on where they live.
Interesting that, well, maybe in, I think Russians still tend to be less mobile within the country, right? The people's mobility, migration rate in Russia is less than in Europe or in the United States, I think, right? Like all of you were born in Eletz and studied in Eletz and live and work in Eletz. I was born in Omsk and I've been living all my life in Omsk, right? Yes, I traveled. I lived in US. I lived for some time in Moscow, but maybe for America it's and for Europe, people migrate more often, and that's why they don't really come to visit their parents so often. On the other hand, there is a problem, like, for example, it depends on the family, of course, but even if you live, like I live in the same city where my mother lives, but maybe it's a shame, like, I'm ashamed that I don't often come to visit her. Like I do make phone calls, not very often maybe. So okay, like a big city maybe.
That might be a good thing. I usually talk to my mother every day, Sergey.
Oh yeah.
Or every other day. Once every. Oops.
I need to I'm live with my parents because it's выгодно. Как сказать?
Это слово трудно. Сейчас оно переводится разными способами, зависит от ситуации. Попробуйте сказать.
Because I have two children, and then I and my wife go to come away, our children stay with my parents.
Yeah.
It's
Advantage, наверное. Advantage, like advantages. Yeah.
It's advanced reason.
Yes, it's an advantage. It's an
То есть можно сказать, что you take advantage of your parents staying in your house. Is it your house or it's your parents' house?
No, it's my parents' house. My house in our place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely an advantage.
Mm-hmm. And your children are small now, right? How old are they?
My youngest daughter, it's 4. My son, it's 8.
Oh yes, it's like my children, yeah.
Yeah.
But my parents, my wife's parents are too busy. So no, they with our children maybe only once a month, like, and it takes some time to negotiate. Like, could you please? Oh no, well, just one time. So we have to уговаривать, like to convince them. Yeah.
This is interesting. Oh, go ahead, Sergey.
My parents обижаются to me.
Take offense. No, take offense. Take offense.
Oh.
Offense if забираем детей надолго.
You take children away for a long time. So it's like it's a very different situation from my situation. Yeah. Okay.
My husband Kyle has a sister, Shannon, and Shannon is 7 years older than Kyle. So she has 4 children, and my mother-in-law, Shannon's mother, lives very close to Shannon, and she always watches the children all the time. Either she's at work, so my mother-in-law name is Barb, and Barb is a nurse, so either she's working at the hospital or she's down at Shannon's house watching the children. She built a house very close to Shannon's house.
Mm.
So it's a very similar situation to Sergei's.
Mm. And very similar situation to Raymond, right? Raymond TV show.
Yes, a similar situation to Raymond.
Реймонд, вот это видео, да, которое Эбби поместила, какой сериал, вы узнали, какой сериал в России сделан на основе этого? Нет, не смотрели? Конечно.
Аналогии не нашла.
Да вы что, нет.
Чтобы найти аналогию, надо смотреть российские сериалы.
Подождите, как же он называется? Воронины, да? Есть такой сериал?
Не знаю.
Вы только видео слышали, рекламу.
Ну подождите, я, может быть, неправильно называю. Там этот главный герой Костик, да? Там папа с мамой, да? Вот, да. Так вот этот сериал, он основан на Everybody Loves Raymond, на основе вот этого американского сериала. И у меня есть даже фильм, о том, как американцы приехали в Москву ставить русский вариант Everybody Loves Raymond. Был и замечательный фильм, смешной такой, очень такой, такой интеллигентный, с таким вниманием они вот к российской культуре, то есть как они адаптировали американские сериалы к российским реалиям, как они подбирали актеров.
Были проблемы.
У них были много проблем, да, потому что совсем другая реальность, да, а сценарий как бы должен быть более-менее похожим, да. Но на самом деле, вот то, что Эбби поместила в блоге, там вот эти фрагменты из сериала, когда смотришь, видишь, что очень много похожего действительно вот в семейных отношениях американцев, и вот то, что Василий написал, там, что христианская вера, технологическая цивилизация, ну, наверное, на самом деле вот такие и семейные отношения тоже во многом схожи. Много, понятно, отличий, да, но вот темперамент, у нас, мне кажется, темперамент у русских и у американцев очень близкий, да. Посмотрите, Эбби какая хохотунья, да, вот русские же такие же эмоциональные, да.
No.
Просто они, да, как нет, не такие.
No.
Нет, but Russians can be very emotional when they become friends, right? Russians are very cold when they don't know each other, right? When they're strangers, cold to strangers. But when they have a party, when they get around, Russians are very emotional and noisy.
It's only at party.
Oh.
Right.
We will have a party when you come to visit, Sergey. we will have a party when you come to visit us.
Oh.
So you will also be more relaxed.
Я планирую, когда смогу приехать.
Plan, yes. Yeah, so, and Vasily, how often do you see your parents? How often do you see, or maybe how often do you make phone calls to your parents? Yeah, how often? Как часто? How often do you make phone calls to your parents? Oh, well, okay, Sergey lives with his parents. But Vasily, and you do you live? No, not your wife. Your mother, your dad.
Теща. Так?
No, not tеща, not mother-in-law. How often, Vasily? How often do you contact with your parents, with your mom and with your dad?
Ну, это my wife.
Your
Father.
Your father and your mother. How often do you contact them?
Every week.
Every week. Okay, every week. Good. Do you make phone calls or do you come to visit them?
And no. It's phone
and physically, yes.
Да.
Yes. Okay. So. And well,
sorry, go ahead.
Abby, go on.
I was wondering how often Yelena sees her parents or talks to them.
I visit to my parents every weekend, but they is old.
Yeah.
And I think they will move quickly to me.
Yes. Yes. So that you don't have to visit.
So you don't have to, чтобы не приходилось. Don't have to. Да.
That will be easier for them, I'm sure.
Еще раз.
Yes. That will be easier for them, I'm sure. If they live with you, it will be easier for your parents.
Easier, легче. Easier.
Yes. Как сказать, они нуждаются в помощи. They are помощь, как
Help. Need my help.
they need for of help или for help. They need help.
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 They need help.
Yes. Yes, I understand.
So, okay, that was very interesting, really, to learn more about your relations with your family. And so, what shall we do for the next time? Abby, I think you posted some questions to the.
Yes. We were
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
to do a poll.
To do a poll, right?
Yes, that's right. But I didn't post specific questions for the poll because we were going to decide them either on the blog or in class. I think maybe deciding some questions on the blog would be best. So I can post again. It wasn't in the questions. It was
So we
here.
were going to ask our students to ask their friends and relatives some questions, right?
But we need
About
them to come up with some questions. First.
that.
Yeah. Does everyone see? So I would like everyone to write 1 or 2 questions of your own about tendencies in the family. So maybe asking about do you pay your children for chores, or other questions, different questions from what we talked about today. New questions.
То есть, смотрите, нужно будет задать 2-3 вопроса по как бы тенденциям в культуре, да? Ну вот, например, вот еще один такой вопрос там был затронут у Василия, да, например, отправлять родителей в дом престарелых, да? Даже вот по-русски вот этот дом престарелых звучит как-то чудовищно, да, потому что такой как бы стереотип, да, что это что-то ужасное. Да, у американцев даже другое, тоже есть вот этот, Эбби, тоже есть like stigma, like nursing home is, and Americans, because this system is improving, Americans tend to coin new words to name these establishments, institutions, да?
Yes.
Вот какие care facility, да? Как называется?
Well, I'll have to think about it, but and often they'll have a name, a specific name, and then it doesn't sound as bad, because nursing home has a very bad
А смотрите, в
sound.
английском тоже звучит, nursing home звучит как что-то такое ужасное, да? И они отказываются от этих слов, и вот, например, care facility, то есть это что-то уже более нейтральное. А
But
часто
a lot of times maybe they'll call them the Oaks. I don't know. I can't think of any. Or Southampton. My grandmother was at one.
да,
Southampton. So you would say that a specific name.
дубовая роща. Мгм. То есть название конкретное, да, этого заведения, да, вот, например, там дубовая роща, да.
Or skilled nursing facility, where there's specific help that a family may not be able to provide. Sometimes it's just, what's the expression, sugarcoating the pill.
Sugarcoating the pill, да, то есть подслащивание пилюли, да, ну, вот такие названия такие придумываются, чтобы избежать этих негативных ассоциаций, да.
Change of the name does not change an
Idea, yeah, the idea, yeah, but yeah, that's very sensitive question, very difficult, because, well, on the one hand, yes, that's the problem, like it's your parents, so what's the choice? If the parents or grandparents need skilled help, then who should do it? Like if you work, if you are busy, right, you cannot really, and you have to take care yourself about your parents, and that could be challenging in terms of time and maybe money, but sending them away is it's a challenge in terms of morals, right? Like how you feel about it. And also another thing is that well, maybe in Russia we still don't have very many very good nursing homes. Some of them are in terrible conditions. And but if you know that your parents are in a very good nursing home with nice conditions, with like wonderful friendly atmosphere, maybe that would change the attitude to this. Well, so yeah, we may post maybe, like we may ask these questions to our. So you may ask these questions about nursing homes or paying to children for their chores, to your relatives and friends, and ask their opinion, да, то есть сделать маленький соцопрос. 4-5 человек опросить, да, и потом представить эти результаты в классе, да. Может даже там 5 человек сказали, что да, 3 человека из 5 сказали, что нет, и так далее. И попросим то же самое сделать Эбби, спросить ее американских друзей, сравним, да, вот увидим это, есть ли тенденции какие-то или нет. Вы можете сначала опубликовать это в блоге, да, результаты опроса, можете сразу в класс принести. И о том, и о том. Давайте вот 2 вопроса задать. Можно еще какой-нибудь свой 3-й вопрос придумать. Ну вот эти платить детям, это хорошо или нет за работу? И сдавать родителей в дом или бабушку, дедушку в дом престарелых, это хорошо или плохо, да? Хорошо, плохо, не знаю, да, 3-й, как обычно, соцопрос.
Прочее. Ава. Ава. Прочее.
Да. Okay, guys. Well, thank you again for your attendance. Great. It was great to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll see you on Monday.
We'll be looking for questions so that I can ask people. Yeah.
Да. Задайте побыстрее, напишите в блог побыстрее эти вопросы, чтобы Эбби могла задать такие же вопросы американцам, которые вы зададите.
It would be good.
Okay.
Окей, bye.
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 Ну ладно, Эбби, тебе надо бежать, да?
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting calls on my phone here behind me. I have
Ладно.
to do something about paperwork and, yeah, for the
Я
house.
думаю, что мы должны, может быть, я напишу еще раз это задание, чтобы им было понятно,
Yes,
что, да?
please. Yeah. I put it at the bottom of family. I repeated it, but it probably would be good if you repeated it also.
Хорошо.
Yeah. So, anything else?
Нет, все нормально, все
Okay,
хорошо.
Great. Ну,
Давай.
до
Спасибо.
понедельника.
До понедельника. Пока.
Пока.